Hey, welcome back to Real Talk. We're here. You're here. Let's talk.
Let's do it for sure.
Rapid fire. Couple questions for you. You ready? I mean, we're going in the Wayback Machine here, okay?
Okay.
Best high school graduation gift.
Cash is king.
Cash is always good.
king.
Always a good gift.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's a good one. Favorite vacation spot?
Ooh, Whistler, British Columbia, skiing up to my neck in powder.
Wow.
The best.
That's a good one.
Oh my gosh, the best ever. Just floating on a cloud of snow down a cliff. It doesn't get better than that.
Love it.
Yep.
Funniest thing you've seen at a wedding?
At a wedding? Funniest thing I've seen. Some crazy dancing, that whole garter thing where they reach up somebody's skirt and take this of the bride. That? I've seen that go really bad. Like, yeah, just bad. When, you mix in dancing and alcohol and reaching up the bride's skirt.
Everybody's having a little too much fun.
It's just a party foul, a wedding party foul. So I think in general, every wedding, stop it. Just stop that.
Yes. Are you pro, now when they cut the cake, are you pro like smashing it, or are you like, no, let's not do that?
Another stupid tradition. Where does this tradition come from?
Why do they do that?
We boycotted that.
Yeah, we did too.
Why would we smash cake in anybody's face? Especially on our wedding day.
It's not very nice.
There's some people that came to the wedding, I'd rather smash it in their face. But that's not the tradition.
I like that. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So,
why do you ask? Why are you asking?
All important fun things. High school graduations and vacations and weddings, all milestone things in life. And all things that right now are being canceled left and right.
Oh, that's terrible.
High school, college graduations that these students are just sitting around going, we don't know what's next.
Because of that thing that's to be remain nameless?
Yes, that thing of which we shall not speak about. Right? So, I mean, you're living this firsthand in your home, where it's like, okay, I'm a senior. I've spent the last 12 years looking forward to walking across that stage, getting that piece of paper.
Yeah, for my son not being able to have some of those senior experiences. Oh.
And you just have no idea even when, if, whatever. And even if it does happen, it's not going to be like it has been, because you haven't even seen your friends in months by the time you get to that finish line. Yep. So weird, right? I mean, same thing with weddings. You're hearing about people postponing, canceling, changing dramatically what they had planned for their weddings. Maybe on a smaller scale, but still impactful vacations.
Yeah, like I know you were scheduled to be on vacation this coming week.
Yeah, and we don't get to, right? Because where we wanted to go isn't even open. So it's like, that's just kind of sad. It's a loss.
Seriously.
So what do we do with that? What do you do for a high school kid that doesn't get to graduate? It's like no closure to this massive chapter in life, to the bride who's been planning the details of that wedding meticulously, maybe for years, and now it's like it's gone.
Yep. And we're all I think we're all trying to make sense of it.
Yeah.
Trying to understand it, but because we're living in the middle of it, I think it just makes people sad. Because I think early on in this whole pandemic, we were thinking, it won't last that long. So yeah, it's hard for a short time, but it's going to get back to normal quick. It's going to get back, and it's not getting back to normal quick. And so I think there's just a lot of sad people.
Yeah.
So Proverbs 13, I think verse 12 helps me with this, because it says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. So you have your hope set on something.
Okay.
Hope deferred, which is like hope set aside. You were hoping to go on vacation, but that hope has been deferred. You were hoping for this idyllic wedding. You were hoping for these senior moments as a college graduate or a high school graduate. You're hoping for this, and it gets set aside, deferred. And Solomon says, that makes your heart sick.
Yep.
And I think sometimes we just have to be okay with the fact that what's going on inside is I'm heartsick. And I can't make it better with just like somebody, you know what, 10 years from now, you won't remember that vacation you were intended to go on, or 30 years from now, what you did for high school graduation, those things won't matter. You won't remember, or it's like, wait. we're all going through, I think, a level of heart sickness
Yep.
where we're literally sick in the heart. And we better be okay with going, that's real.
Yeah.
That's real
Yeah.
sickness. It's a sadness and a sickness that can't just be pushed away. Like you can't just say to somebody that they're supposed to get married or had this plan of a reception or we did all this, well, just get over it. Like,
Right.
no, they're sick.
Yeah, no, high school senior, college senior, you should be sad. You've worked really hard. You had this finish line in mind, and you were going to get to celebrate it with your friends and your family and your older siblings. You watch them celebrate and all that kind of stuff, and you don't get to. Like, you should be sad, and that's real.
And it's real.
To
And
be
it
disappointed.
It feels like a sickness, and I think, what do you do with any kind of sickness? You don't just pretend that it's not there.
Right.
You deal with it. And there's a variety of ways you could deal with it, but you don't just go, well, you're not really sick. You don't really have strep throat. Like, just get over it. You got strep throat. Like, no.
Right.
You like, this is a real thing that people are really heartbroken and have real significant life milestone events being set aside. And this is not fun, and it sucks, and it's sick.
Yeah. Yeah. John 10, Jesus says, I came to give life abundantly. And right before that, he says, the thief comes to steal your joy. And I thought that's what this is in a lot of ways. It's a stealing of joy. And so it's like, God doesn't love this for us. He knows that we're heartbroken over missing some of these things. He knows for the bride and groom who were wanting to get married, they're heartbroken that they don't get to have a big celebration with 50 or 100 or however many people they had planned. They don't get to have that.
Yep.
And that's not what God wants for them.
No.
He wants joy for them.
Yeah.
But somehow we have to believe that there's still joy in it. It just, things might look different than we expected.
Yeah.
And maybe that's some of the reorienting around that disappointment. To go, maybe things just look different than I expected.
Yeah, and that, I mean, we've talked about this before, that before you can ever get reoriented, you have to be disoriented. So I think part of a high school senior or a wedding situation or being disappointed over not being able to do something is that feeling of disorientation, validating that this is really disorienting, this is really hard, this is real heart sickness, but realizing that you have to go through that in order to come out the other side and get a reorientation to, oh, what could we do to really celebrate seniors? What can we do in this new environment to have a kick-in wedding? What can we do? But if we don't grieve and understand that the sickness is real and we can't just wish it away, we have to deal seriously with that heart sickness, then we'll never be able to move on to health and new orientation towards something great and better. And probably worth saying too, for all of us, we may not have a big milestone event that's being pushed aside by this.
No.
But there's lesser level things like, a birthday or an anniversary or just a hope for a school play that you were going to be in the
spring
school play.
Sports the kids
spring
were going to
sports, or you just really want to be able to. I don't know. There was financial goals you had because you were saving up for, and all this economics stuff just killed. You were saving up to buy a new fence for your house or whatever. You wanted to move out of your apartment into a new apartment. All these little deaths that happened because of this. That we have to grieve and be heartsick over.
Yeah. So is there an antidote? Is there an antidote for this deferred hope, the sickness that it causes, or is it just to acknowledge that it's not much fun?
Well, I think it is acknowledging that it's not fun, but I think as humans, we project our expectations from the past forward. So we tend to always look at the past and goes, because this is the way high school graduation has always been done, then it will therefore always be done that way. I think that's normal, good, that's natural, it's beautiful, it's the way it should be. But probably one of the things that this is teaching us is we probably should have not lower expectations, but we probably should rewrite the way we think to go, just because it's always been done this way doesn't mean it will always be. So James says this, so important. James writes, chapter 4 somewhere, says something like, we all say, tomorrow I will do this or tomorrow I will do that. It's like, well, if God wills it.
Yep.
So what we have is today.
Yep.
And how do we live today and not have low expectations for tomorrow, but maybe hold expectations tomorrow with a little wider hand and say, God, I don't know what this next season of life is going to bring. And I know I will have greater heart sickness if I project last summer on this summer. If I take whatever I've done last month and say it's going to happen this month. Like, no, I'm going to try to live day by day.
Yep.
I don't know. Is that helpful?
Good.
Maybe.
I think that's good. Yeah. So high school senior, college senior, we see you. We know it's a bummer. Bride and groom, we get it. It's disappointing.
Yep.
You could still get married.
Yes.
Backyard.
I know.
That's the way to go.
And take your heart sickness to Jesus because he can heal. He can help. I know that sounds silly, but take all of this to Jesus. He cares. He really does.
Good. See you next time on Real Talk.